Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. Today we're going to talk about collaborative law divorce, cooperative divorce, and we're going to compare and contrast those to each other and to traditional divorce. And before we get started, I want to thank Tom Weiler from Weiler Studios. He's doing our videography for this episode, and hopefully for our episodes going forward, if he doesn't hate what we do here. If you like what you see, you can go to his website, weilerstudios.com. So let's dive in, and we'll kind of explain what collaborative law divorce is, what cooperative divorce is, and then compare and contrast them, the pros and cons of each, with traditional divorce. So collaborative divorce is a alternative dispute resolution method, and it can often be more cost-effective and less stressful on the family than a traditional divorce, because in a traditional divorce, you're expecting to go into court and litigate certain issues. You're going to have a trial, hearing, and the judge is going to determine, after arguments from both sides and discovery from both sides, the judge is going to make certain decisions about issues like child support, child custody, maintenance payments, division of assets, and division of property and debts. So all those issues have to be decided in a divorce, and in a traditional divorce, that's done through a divorce court. But in a collaborative law divorce, all of the parties, well, both parties, the spouses and both attorneys, sign something called the participation agreement. And this is an agreement to try to resolve their issues in good faith out of court. And the attorneys in this participation agreement agree to withdraw from representing their clients if litigation becomes necessary. So if the process fails and the parties aren't able to reach a settlement outside of court, then both attorneys have to withdraw and the parties have to get new attorneys. So in this participation agreement, the parties are also going to agree to freely, openly, and honestly exchange information. So in a collaborative divorce, there's usually not a discovery process like interrogatories, requests for production of documents, or depositions. We do away with that, so it becomes less expensive. The parties just exchange information and try to reach a settlement. Oftentimes, independent experts are going to be hired and retained by both parties together, and these might be people like financial advisors, accountants, or divorce coaches, in order to help the parties fully understand what they're agreeing to and reach a settlement agreement. Again, if the process fails, the key thing that makes collaborative divorce different from other divorce methods is that if the process fails, the parties have to hire new attorneys, and they can't use any of the work product from the attorneys that they hired for the first divorce. So that means that if the process fails, it ends up costing more money than it would have been if the traditional divorce had just begun from the beginning, because you've got to pay new attorneys to redo some of the work of the old attorneys. So that's the downside. A cooperative divorce is similar to a collaborative divorce, except that although the parties are agreeing to try to settle out of court and freely and openly exchange information, the attorneys don't agree to withdraw from representing their clients if the case needs to be litigated. So this means that there's less risk to the parties if the process fails. The same attorneys can represent them, and they can transition smoothly from out-of-court negotiation to in-court litigation. They don't have to hire new experts and new attorneys to redo the same work. So kind of the pros and cons of each. If the process is successful in either a collaborative divorce or a cooperative divorce, it's going to be much cheaper than a traditional divorce because you don't have to have nearly as much attorney work. There's not the adversarial nature. You're not going into court. It's also much less stressful than a traditional divorce because the parties are working together to reach a settlement rather than arguing through their attorneys in court. So that puts a lot less stress on the family. And it's typically agreements reached outside of court tend to be more comprehensive. They tend to better address all the issues because the parties are actively involved in finding something that fits for them. They also tend to have less post-divorce litigation attached to them because, again, the parties have freely agreed to these agreements. It's not something that a judge has ordered and one party is disgruntled about. So those are the real advantages of collaborative law divorce and cooperative divorce. Now, again, the downside is that in a collaborative law divorce, it can be more expensive if the process fails because you've got to hire those new attorneys. But in a cooperative divorce, you've got the benefit of trying to reach that settlement out of court without the extra expense of hiring new attorneys. Now, comparing collaborative divorce to cooperative divorce, sometimes collaborative divorce is a better option if the parties really think they can negotiate in good faith. Because of that extra expense if the process fails, the parties and the attorneys are incentivized to try to make the process work, because the attorneys know that if the process fails, they're going to lose their client. Their client's going to go get a new attorney. They are less likely to threaten litigation if they're not able to reach an agreement. And the parties understand that if the process fails, it's going to be more expensive for everybody. So collaborative law divorces tend to be more successful in reaching an out-of-court settlement than a cooperative divorce. But again, a cooperative divorce, there's less of a risk of having to have that extra expense if the process fails. So there's other alternative dispute resolution methods like mediation and arbitration. Typically, a mediator isn't brought into either a collaborative law divorce or a cooperative divorce. A mediator is a third party that helps the attorneys and the parties settle. But if the parties can't quite reach an agreement, they can agree to bring a mediator in. So collaborative law divorces and cooperative divorces are great tools if you think at the outset of the process that you can negotiate with your spouse in good faith and that everyone's going to be on the level. They might not be great tools if there's already an adversarial relationship. And so when you talk to your attorney should present all the options and try to find the divorce method that's the best fit for you and your family. So thanks so much for listening. We do a lot of divorce work, but we do almost every other area of law. If you'd like to schedule an initial consultation, you can call me at 630-324-6666. And you can check out more podcasts, video blogs, and articles on nearly every subject of law at learn-about-law.com. And you can also check out my business podcast where I interview business owners at seizeyourbusiness.com. We're excited that we've got a new real estate podcast that'll be coming soon, makingrealestatefun.com. And thanks again to Tom Weiler from Weiler Studios. Go to weilerstudios.com if you like the video you see here and you'd like him to help you out with some of your videography. Thanks for listening.